All those in favor?
In favor.
Thank you. It's being very slow tonight. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. Do we have any declarations of possible conflict of interest tonight? Seeing none, we have no delegations, and we do have one presentation. I would like to welcome Eileen Palermo from Our Kids Network, who's going to give us a presentation on the importance of network to the Protocol Partners Boards. Welcome, Eileen. We look forward to your Alina. Sorry, I apologize. Okay. Oh, well, that's not what's here, so that's why. Okay. Well, welcome, Alina, and we look forward to your presentation. Please begin when you're ready.
Okay, thank you very much, and good evening. I am delighted. I know I have 10 minutes, so I've got my watch right here. I am delighted to be here tonight to talk about the Our Kids Network and the partnership that we have with the school board and many other partners in the community. What I want to do, because I haven't been here in quite a while, probably two and a half, maybe even 3 years, is I want to give you a bit of an overview, just so I refresh people's memory who've heard me before or know about the Our Kids Network, and for new people to give them a bit of a snapshot of what we're all about and the kind of work that we do. So we've been in existence for almost 20 years in some form or another. Our genesis was 20 years ago as the Early Years Committee. And what we are is a Halton-wide partnership and network of organizations, individuals, and agencies that really are invested in serving and ensuring that our children, youth, and families have the best possible landscape and community to grow and thrive in. So here you see a very quick history. 1996, the Early Years Committee was established. In 2004, there was lots of activity in between. In 2004, we had a number of AIR organizations, regionally mandated organizations, that came together and said, let's formalize our partnership and figure out how to work together in a way that makes most sense for ourselves as individual organizations, but for our children, youth, and families in our community. They signed off on a formal protocol agreement, so they took it to their board. So trustees in 2004 from this board certainly heard about it and agreed that this was the right thing and something that they wanted to participate in. And signed off on an agreement that they would work together for 5 to 6 years with a formalized agreement and do an evaluation in that time. We released our first report card that really focused on 0 to 6 at that time, and then we continued work. Between 2004 and 2006, we created values, we created how to work together, we did some projects, we established hubs that I'll talk a little bit more about. And in 2010, when it was time to evaluate and to have a look at the ongoing evaluation, there was resounding evidence that this was the way to go as a community, that working together made the most sense. Together we could do things that separately no sector or no individual organization could do. So we signed off to continue to work together. We now have 8 organizations, and I'll show you those in a second, and we developed strategic directions. And we decided to, at that point, to start to hire core staff to move that work forward so that the work became the center of the desk for a core group of staff. In 2012, another formal partnership agreement was signed, and we will review that in 5 or 6 years because, again, we don't want to just assume that we'll continue working this way, and we know that the kind of work that we do is organic and it evolves, and we need to continually update it. So these are our 8 protocol partners. I won't name them off, but you can see that they're all regionally mandated organizations, and they're from a broad spectrum from health. The region is up there, and that's both health and children's services, but from health right to policing, education in there, special needs, children's mental health, and the multicultural. So really, these are 8 strong organizations that work within the whole region of Halton. I used to have the org chart up here, but it really is, it's in your package. I brought extra copies of our annual report if someone wants a hard copy. And the org chart is displayed quite predominantly on the front page or the first page in. It's a very organic org chart, but you can see the complexity of the work that we do and how many committees and initiatives that we're involved in. And that work is done by 90 participating agencies that haven't signed off on the formal agreement, but that work with us together as a network because they also recognize the importance of working together. In any given month, we have over 200 participants and individual committees, action teams, planning groups, working towards the goals of the Our Kids Network. And what are those goals, you may say, right? We have a common agenda, All Children Thrive, which is quite aspirational. Very big picture. Everyone is included in this. Our mission is really to promote healthy development, security and safety of all children, youth and families through collective action, working together. We have identified 7 very high population results, and under each one of these results we have 10, 15, 20 indicators that allow us to measure our progress as we move forward as a community collectively. And we use these as our benchmarks, and we use these to really guide our work. The role of our kids really is twofold. One, as a network and a collective, is to work together towards our common agenda in our Halton 7. And the second role of our kids is to provide the backbone support or the structure that's needed to build capacity. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. To build capacity in the community, not only in one sector, but in the community to help us move forward with our work and to get to our goal. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the initiatives and some of the areas of focus that we have. In 10 minutes is not enough time, and as you can see, I like to talk. So I could certainly be here for an hour or two talking with you about our work, but I want to highlight just a few little pieces. So we have a value of ensuring that we focus on healthy child and youth development, and within that value we have adopted an asset-based approach to our work. And as you probably know, within the school boards, the school boards also really promote developmental assets and an asset-based approach. We use a developmental assets framework that was developed by the Search Institute in the States, and we really work with professionals in our community. Our group that we work with we don't do frontline work primarily. We don't as a network. What we do is we want to build capacity within the professionals and anyone else who touches a child or youth or in family's life. So we work with professionals to help them build capacity in these areas. So we focus on developmental assets. We focus on family assets. We focus on developmental relationships. And we've identified Halton as an asset-building community. And if I may, I just want to, I can click on here. Oh, here we go. On a short public service announcement that we developed, we have a almost 5-minute video on asset building in the early years. And this was truly a collective, collaborative partnership as we developed this product for the community. It was paid for by your board a number of years ago that provided the dollars for the production. And then the board participated as a steering committee member and as a member to really drive this project forward. But we also had investment of hundreds of hours from organizations in the community that worked with families. They're all the families that are highlighted. You'll only see one family tonight. But all the families that are highlighted in this video are local families. We worked with local families, identified them to really develop a common message about the importance of developmental relationships in the early years from 0 to 6. We use this product with service providers. We market it to families. We have it on Cogeco. We're looking at putting it in the theaters. We've had some print media on it. And the goal really is to accentuate and to ensure that families are aware of the importance of the work and the importance of their role in child development, but also to help them identify some of those key issues that are important that they work on. So hopefully, here we go. It didn't show. I talked to the techie guy and he said he'd help me.
Click the link.
Right link or right or left?
Just click that right there. Just left click it.
I left click it. Not happening. Well, what we can do is we're going to shut that off, right? And if we can't show it, we can't show it. But I encourage you to go to our website. All of these materials are, it's on the previous slide. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, yeah. You'll be able to see that PSA, but you'll also be able to see the full almost 5-minute video. So if you go to the Our Kids Network and you look for our early child development family relationship video, it's called Family Relationships Matter, you're going to be able to see that. Some of the other pieces of work that we do, and this is broad Halton-wide work, so you can see it doesn't only benefit one sector, but benefits all sectors, because it really takes a village to raise a child, right? And it really takes a village to support a family to raise that child or youth. So we all need to work together. So we have a data portal, we have an iParent parenting portal that we make available. I know my time is almost up, so I'm going to skip through very quickly. And we'll bring you more information about those as we continue with our presentations. We'll continue our presentations with you. Hopefully we'll be back in the fall or early next year to talk about the iParent portal. We have 3 community hubs, one in Acton, one in Aldershot, one in Milton, all of whom are located in schools. The Acton hub is in a public Halton school. And these hubs have been in existence since about 2005. They all came on board at different times. They are the hubs of that community to really bring service providers together, not only to provide service in those hubs, but to collectively plan on how to provide services that no one organization would be able to provide on their own. And a prime example, how much more time do I have, Stuart? Just so I know. Ooh, I can talk faster. Okay, so a prime example of that is the Acton project that we had, where we looked at developing some capacity in the community to support parents before their kids came to school, because we knew that our EDI, our Early Development Instrument, test results were quite problematic in Acton. The principals identified it. We came together as a community. We brought research to the table. We had a discussion and built a plan on how to support those families and how to really ensure that there was a spotlight on those kids, all kids, not just all kids, to really ensure that they came to school in as ready to be in school as possible. So we did a project in 30 days, and then we thought that was the end of the project, but the community said, we're not done, we're going to do more. So they did an event in the fall, and they're planning their next event for this year and their next strategy on how to support the kids and families in Acton. We're also developing a youth collective impact project in North Oakville, in that North Oakville community, where we're looking at building relationships with youth and strengthening relationships with youth in that community, because that we know that if youth have lots of good adult relationships, there's a protective factor there, and at-risk behavior tends to go down. The research is very, very clear on that. Okay, I said all I'm going to say. Thank you very much for hearing a little bit about the Our Kids Network. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Alina. It's very obvious that there's been a partnership with our board, and I have seen it grow over the years, and I've seen the impact on the students and in the communities, and it's a very beneficial partnership that we have. And I know it took a while to grow, but it's definitely taking off now, and you can see that the impact. So thank you very much for all your work and for all the partners that are involved, because I think it is only doing great things for our students. There is one person who would like to make a comment, Trustee Harvey Hope.
Just a quick question. All of the partners, do they all help fund it, or are you mostly funded by one source?
No, it's the 8 protocol partners that have signed off on the agreement that provide funding. We also get project funding from Trillium, the Trillium Foundation, and we get some provincial funding. And we look for funding wherever we can to augment that funding, but it's primarily the 8 protocol partners that provide the funding.
Thank you, and I believe Superintendent Newton would like to make a comment.
And through the chair, thank you. I'd like to really thank Our Kids Network. I've learned a lot with Lena over the last 10, 12 years, and opening schools with a framework of strength-based, looking in the strengths of students, and particularly teaching that every student needs at least 5 caring adults to make a difference in their lives and to become healthy and thrive. So I really thank you for your work. You have provided a lot of work in our classrooms. Our teachers and community partners really work well together to learn how we can build strategic planning and strategies to help these kids survive. So thank you very much for your work.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Appreciate it. Have a good night. So our next item is the approval of the minutes from the Halton District School Board meeting of February the 17th. Do I have a mover? Trustee Pappen, seconded by Trustee Collard. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Okay. Trustee Graves? And that passes unanimously. Thank you. So we are now up to business transacted in private session. Did we have anything to approve from private session?
No.
Thank you. We're up to the order paper. Is there any comments or questions on our order paper tonight? Seeing none, we're up to the action items. The first one is item 3.4.1, Nelson High School Stadium Revitalization Proposal, Superintendent Cullen, Report 16037 on page 10 of your board package. Welcome, Superintendent Cullen, and we look forward to your report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This, as you know, was presented at our last board for trustees to consider. We've reviewed most of the issues related to this potential partnership with the Nelson user group and, of course, the City of Burlington, given our current relationship with the City of Burlington. This would be one of the first projects that we're actually approving through the formal process of initiating a partnership with the community fundraising group. So it's here for your approval this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions on this before I put the motion on the table? Trustee Pappen.
Thank you. Through the chair to Superintendent Cullen, I just wanted to let you know I will be supporting this motion. I feel that the facilities at Nelson are well used by this school committee, community, as well as the user groups at Nelson, and to have an elite facility in our city is a great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee L. Harrison.
Thank you very much, through you, Madam Chair. Like Trustee Pappen, this is very exciting. The potential of having this kind of facility in the board or another facility in the board. I do have a quick question. At the end, in one of the attachments, under next steps, it says HDSB to take to council and add to budget. So I just wondered what the add to budget part specifically meant, and because I don't think we're at that point yet, if I'm not mistaken.
Through the chair, I would agree that at this point, we already have budgets assigned to parts of the project that we would be doing anyway. So there already is some funding available that the board would have put into the projects we would have been doing anyway. So that's the existing component. We don't have any indication at this point in time, or I would say any intent at this point in time, to increase or add to that budget until we've seen what the user groups are going to address around either fundraising or the scope of work. So you're correct. It will take more time before that part is ironed out. And it would be our expectation that the board would probably not be putting any additional funds in. In fact, the hope is that the user groups are going to be the ones doing the funding for the additional enhancements. So that's the intent of the whole project.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments or questions at this time, I'm going to read the motion. Be it resolved, the Halton District School Board authorized staff to work with the City of Burlington and Nelson User Group to develop a fundraising plan as outlined in the HDSB Community Funding and Facility Enhancements Administrative Procedure regarding proposed enhancements to the sports facilities at Nelson High School. Moved by Trustee Pappen, seconded by Trustee Reynolds. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
In favor?
Thank you. That passes unanimously. Thank you very much, and my apologies. Probably won't be the last time I'm coughing tonight. Okay, our next item is the OPSPO Labor Relations Symposium expenses. Trustee Collard, report 16041 on page 33 of the board package. Trustee Collard.
I spoke to this motion at the last meeting, and so at this point, I'd just be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any. And so, yeah. You okay?
Sorry, Trustee Collard, I interrupted you. Did you?
I spoke to this 2 weeks ago, and so if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Are there any questions or comments regarding this motion tonight? Seeing none, I will put the motion on the floor. Be it resolved, the Halton District School Board, oh, no, that was the last motion, sorry. We already passed that one. It's almost the same. Be resolved, the Halton District School Board use a portion of the reserve account for trustee professional development to cover the registration costs for the trustees to attend the Ontario Public School Board Association Labor Relations Symposium
including the pre-symposium, to be held in Toronto from March 31st, 2016 to April 1st, 2016, maximum of $5,500. Upon return from the conference, trustees who attended will provide the board with an update. Moved by Trustee Trustee Collard, seconded by Trustee Harvey Hope. Are there any further questions or comments? No. All in favor?
In favor?
That passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. That passes unanimously. And thank you, Vice Chair Graves. Okay, we're now up to item 3.4.3, OFA debenture. Superintendent Bierman, report 16024 on page 34 of your board package. Welcome, Superintendent Bierman.
Thank you. Through the chair, at the last meeting, I provided some information with respect to this OFA debenture, and I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
Are there any comments or questions regarding this motion tonight? Seeing none, I'm going to put the motion on the floor. Be resolved, the Halton District School Board approved debenture bylaw 16024 as referenced in report 16024. Moved by Trustee Gerbens, seconded by Trustee Collard. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
In favor?
That passes unanimously. Thank you very much. So we are now up to our student trustee report. Superintendent. I just gave you a promotion. Trustee Schneider.
That's a good one.
Good evening. So last or 2 weekends ago, the weekend after our last meeting, I attended the OSTAECO, the Ontario Student Trustees Association's Board Council Conference, which is our winter conference in Ottawa. And the purpose of these conferences is for PD as well as to work with the organization on initiatives as a whole with student trustees across Ontario. The conference was a success. Everything was very smooth, and the professional development was great. Some notable things, we had actually an MP from the Burlington riding speak to us, Karina Gold, and a lot of student trustees really related to a young politician. And we also had the mayor of Ottawa come talk to us. Senator Larry Campbell came, and also we had a speaker, John Moses, who was a policy analyst for the Federal Aboriginal Affairs. We also had a lot of committee work there. There's lots of committees that are in our organization. You can look on our website if you want to learn more, but some notable ones, there's a FNMI committee and a communications committee, which I run, and a whole bunch of things. So the conference was very good. And also before the conference started, the Public Board Council actually ran a mental health summit talking about the role of mental health in our education, and a bunch of students were there, locally from Ottawa mostly, but that was a success as well. So if you have any other questions about the conference, you can talk to me. I'll maybe, once the photos and everything are set on the website, I can send everyone a link. They can look through them. This is my 7th conference, I believe, for the organization, my second last, and in my personal opinion, this was one of the best professional development and content kind of conference that I've been to so far in terms of learning from each other and the environment and the attitudes there. So that's it. In Student Senate, we're just meeting next Tuesday, and it will be at MM Robinson, and we're going to be planning our conference. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions for Trustee Schneider? Trustee Daniele.
Thank you. As you know, I accompanied them to Sophie to Ottawa, and I will have a report there from what I saw there. And I sat down with one of the board of OSTAECO to get a really good understanding of what OSTAECO is, and I just haven't had a chance to write that up and send that to you. There were a couple pieces that came out of that. One of the pieces is that OSTAECO is looking at redoing their policies and their bylaws, and they're looking for perhaps a director that might be able to help them with that. So I wanted to put that out to you, Director Miller. If I send you the information, would you send it out to P-Code and maybe former Director Uwali, and because they could really use some help, and they have no budget for that, but they're trying to get their governance structure in place. So if you wouldn't mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other comments or questions for our student trustee tonight? Seeing none, thank you very much for your report. It sounds like it was a great conference, and if it was the best for professional learning, then obviously it was one of the best you've been to yet. So awesome, thank you. Okay, so we're now up to our information items. Notices of motion. Do we have any notices of motion tonight? Seeing none. We are now up to our action items for March the 23rd, and we have none. So we'll keep going. No, it doesn't mean you don't have to come. So we're now up to our information items. So the first one is their operational plan, the system. Superintendents Cullen and Truffin, report 16042 on page 39 of your board package. Welcome, Superintendents Cullen and Truffin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As trustees know, the staff have been reporting on all aspects of the multi-year plan, specifically the annual operational plan, as they have been rolling out over the years. The report this evening relates to what we refer to as the system elements, which is really the business services, IT, and facility services for the most part. And we are going to do a short presentation.
A short presentation. Thank you, Superintendent Cullen. In your report, you have our 4 system goals, and what Superintendent Cullen and I would like to do just is highlight a few of the strategies and our outcomes and strategies. For our first goal, we talked about communication, and we would like to just comment briefly on our communication audit and our boardroom technology. As you know, we have hired a web design person in our communications department, and you've already seen some significant enhancement to our board's website, and some of the work that her name's Caroline has done has been fantastic. We are also working with a firm. A firm has been appointed to redesign our corporate website, and that corporate website, again, is working with our communications department and information services. We should have redesigned and ready for launch by September 2016. And they're going to be working with us on some templates as well that schools might be able to use as well. Happy to hear some feedback. I think it was 2 weeks ago that our director's report was reported online only for the first year, and our director tells us that the feedback on that has been very positive, so that's been great to hear as well. And the boardroom technology has been significantly upgraded, and kudos to our gentlemen in the back who come every board meeting to help support us. But we've seen live streaming, we've seen consoles, we've seen voting, speakers list, timing, so we've seen a great upgrade with our technology as well.
Goal number 2 in the system section relates to schools being safe, accessible, and of course engaging environments. You probably recall that the engagement piece was a theme that ran through many of the aspects of the plan. As a action plan from those statements, we've pretty much initiated the Close the Gap initiative. So recognizing that some of the schools may or may not have had the ability to deliver program in the same way as others, the Close the Gap was a critical step in meeting this goal. It has targeted a number of different areas. They're highlighted on the screen for you, including things like libraries, specialty rooms, and of course the air conditioning and electrical upgrades to facilities.
Our third goal for our system has to do with 21st century learning, which I know we are going to be changing that potentially with our new multi-year plan. Certainly the Ministry of Education is certainly calling it global competencies. So they're getting away from 21st century learning because we are 16 years into the century. Some of the outcomes for us, a goal was identified to have Wi-Fi coverage in our schools. You've met our manager, Mr. Pinho. He will never say we're 100% covered, so we say we're 98.5 Wi-Fi covered in our buildings, in our schools. And we've also, 4 years ago, we had 0% coverage in our portables. Right now we have 100% coverage Wi-Fi in our portables that have students in them. We have network professional learning for our teachers. Each and every year it's called innovation funding, and schools have the opportunity to participate in collaborative learning sessions with teams of teachers from their school, and they collaborate with other schools on technology and learning for students. And certainly our system professional development for Bring It teachers. Over the course of last year, over 300 teachers participated in that professional learning.
The system goal number 4 relates to optimizing the resources of the board with, again, the focus on the program areas and, of course, partnerships. There's been changes made to the fundraising procedure, and the electronic funds transfer with vendors has already been completed in 2015 as one of those modern ways to do that. The administrative procedure on fundraising has also been updated, and of course, as you're aware, the policy under current development and the pilot for the electronic funds transfer will be implemented full roll by the end of 2016. One bullet not there relates to the partnership aspect. Of course, we've just approved the Nelson High School one, which is a variation of a partnership, and I don't think we can go too far down the road without forgetting Hayden and the partnership that took place there between City of Burlington and the Burlington Public Library, again, as an initiative in the partnership category. We'll be happy to take any questions related to the system elements of the operational plan.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions for our presenters on this tonight? Trustee Al Harrison.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. So a lot of things have taken place since we developed the last multi-year plan, and a lot of progress has been made on the goals. I'm looking forward to the development of this multi-year plan so we can review how the landscape, the global and local landscape has changed around some of these things. And I would highlight our use of technology as one of them, and Wi-Fi, and just make sure, I hope that we can have the conversation to make sure in the context of our new multi-year plan that we are implementing these things in the safest possible way for our students. I would highlight things like, as students bring more and more technology to school, I think that it's important that we are making sure that they're using that technology in a safe manner, i.e. they're utilizing them as anticipated by the manufacturers, for example. So just raising that as a potential and something I hope to talk about as we go down the multi-year plan path. Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Harvey Hope.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, to Superintendent Truffin, I think. Wondered if the 99% Wi-Fi includes now being able to access Wi-Fi in the gymnasiums. When we first were implementing Wi-Fi, one of the things that students like to do was to pull up things online during a school assembly, and that was usually the one time where something would glitch, usually because of the concrete. But I wondered whether or not we'd fix those kinds of problems.
Sure. Through the chair to Trustee Harvey Hope. We are constantly working with our schools and the wide area network, or the Wi-Fi areas that are gray zones. If schools bring it to our attention, we'll certainly bring out our server engineers and have a look. We might need to add another access point. We are addressing that actually regularly. So if there is an issue, hopefully the school will bring it to our attention and we can look after it. So yes, it is being addressed.
Thank you. Trustee Oliver.
Thank you. Through your chair to Superintendent Truffin. I'd like to echo Trustee Al Harrison's comments regarding us taking a look at technology and how we're using it in our schools and incorporating that into our multi-year plan. Technology is rapidly changing, and the gadgets that we use change as well. And so it's important to ensure that the right technology is used in a right way, in a safe way, and is available to all students. Thank you.
If I may comment too, actually, Trustee Al Harrison and Trustee Oliver, I agree with you. I think in my report I indicated that we have over, and if I didn't, I apologize. I did. We have over 100,000 unique devices on our network on a weekly basis. That number is greatly different than it was 4 years ago. So I look forward to that discussion.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions around this topic tonight? Seeing none, I'd like to thank you for your presentation. I believe that this is the third pillar of our multi-year plan and is bringing us quite nicely into the start of our multi-year planning. So thank you very much for this information. I'm really happy to hear that we're going to be getting rid of 21st century learning because we are way past that. And the fact that some of the highlights that you brought show that we have been doing some good things in the system and we're just moving forward. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. So our next item is also Superintendent Cullen. It's our Portable Inspection Annual Report. Report 16043 on page 43 of your board package.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is the first that we've done this in this format. Some of the trustees may recall that we used to bring these reports as they occurred. We brought them as a board agenda item. They did not really result in a significant amount of, I'll say, interaction. It was really an information process at that point. For those that weren't here through the evolution of our portable inspection program, it initiated due to mold and moisture and those types of things. And the program has, I think, evolved to the point where it is really one of a more routine basis now than an exception. And we didn't really feel that it needed to be a board report item on every other board agenda. So this is now the first of an annual report where we've taken all of the inspections that have occurred over the course of the year and totaled up all of those results. They are posted at an ongoing basis, so trustees and the public certainly don't have to wait until the annual report to find out what has gone on. They are a more real-time response, given the electronic age. They're posted immediately. And this is really just to make sure that the board is still informed that we are doing the reports and these are the results of the preceding 6 cycles of that particular inspection. Just to summarize very quickly, we had a total of no incidents of actual confirmed mold, which is good. We had 14 cases where we would describe them as either mold, suspect mold or moisture, so they're treated accordingly. And there was actually 4 instances where it's only moisture and therefore the potential to lead to mold, and we react to it at that level in an attempt to eliminate or cut off any potential of the mold actually occurring. So this really summarizes the activity of that particular program over the last year. Be happy to take any questions related to this.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on mold for Superintendent Cullen? Trustee Gerbentz.
Through you, Chair Amos. This is just, so there's a number of portables like the ones, the 10-pack at Pearson. So that's also counted as the portables that are being inspected on a regular basis, right?
Confirmed through the chair, yes. All of the portables are inspected, whether or not they're currently in use by students or not. They're still part of our inventory, so we do inspect them and report on them. I believe at one time we had one that was used as strictly storage, and it may not have been because they physically couldn't get in to do some of those parts of it, but there were no occupants of the space, so that wasn't a great concern, and that was temporary. But all of the portables currently in the system are inspected, and there's roughly 3, the number bounces 340 to 350.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Collard.
Thank you. I wanted to thank you for the new format of the report. I appreciate it very much, and the link on it, it makes it accessible to the public to view, and I'm sure that folks will appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions on this report tonight? Seeing none, thank you very much, Superintendent Cullen. We appreciate the report. We are now up to our committee reports. Do we have any committee reports tonight? Trustee Collard.
Just a couple. SEAC was canceled last night due to the weather, so I won't have a SEAC report this evening. However, I do want to update that we are continuing our work on the spec ed plan, and we're meeting during the daytime with staff and members of SEAC to go through that, and it's proceeding fairly quickly, probably not as quickly as Superintendent Zonafeld would like, but we're getting there. I also attended the OPSPA Board of Directors meeting a week and a half ago, and there were a couple of items of interest that came out of that. Primarily in the legal updates, we became aware of the OPSPA's position on using PD Day on Municipal Elections Day, And OPSPA has published that they're not supportive of this and has made that case to the AMCTO, which is the Association of Municipal Managers, Clerks and Treasurers of Ontario. And so that's their position going forward on the municipal elections. And there was an update on MPAC, which is the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, connecting with all school board associations, Ministry of Education, and others to recommend legislative changes that would require property owners to select an option for school support when they acquire their property. And this would default to English public, and so that would probably be helpful for us when it's time for us to be looking at the number of supporters that we have in the board and the number of trustees around the table. So I wanted to highlight those couple of items to bring forward. And my last item is that we had our first committee meeting for the fundraising policy yesterday, and I'll be sending out notes about that probably tomorrow.
Thank you. Trustee L. Harrison.
Thank you very much. My question is actually a follow-up for Trustee Collard. And last week or so, Premier Wynne had announced First Nations, Métis, Inuit training for provincial employees. And it was my understanding that maybe that item was raised at OPSPA as well. And I just wondered what the outcome, because it seems like it might be a great opportunity for us in boards as well to do a similar thing.
Trustee Collard?
Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot to raise that. I did raise this at OPSPA, and they were very supportive of the idea of the staff of school boards participating in this kind of training, as well as trustees. And they were going to spearhead talks with the other trustee associations and try to do a collaborative approach to the ministry on this. Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee or Vice Chair Graves.
Thank you. Just as most of us around this table know, but for the public to know as well, that we're piloting a committee of the whole model for our standing committees. Discussions of how that will proceed and what that looks like are ongoing. We've had a discussion at the last committee of the whole meeting, and we have scheduled for a future one as well. As part of that, the vice chairs to bring forward a report to the board each week. So I'm giving a verbal report this week. So it may change, and I'm trying to figure out, I don't want to give away all of the highlights of some of the committees, so it would be quite general this week. But we did have some discussion on February 10th, and we have more discussion of this coming up in March. Unfortunately, the Committee of the Whole was canceled that week, so that agenda moves forward to next Wednesday, and the major discussion there will be a preliminary look at the draft of the long-term accommodation plan, as well as our future Inspire Awards. We'll be discussing that there. So the agenda for that will come out on Friday, and the public is welcome.
Thank you. Trustee Daniele.
Thank you. I just wanted to express my thanks to everyone who responded to my email about the date for the Central West meeting. I did appreciate it. I did send it out today. We are going to go with the April 9th meeting. I recognize that makes it difficult for anybody who's attending the Mental Health Summit as well as a multi-year plan. But I had nobody that said I can't attend the 9th, and I had a lot of people that say I cannot attend the 16th. So that's why we ended up on the 9th. But thank you very much to everyone who participated in that. And I will have details about the visit to the Woodland Cultural Center soon.
Thank you. Are there any other committee reports tonight? Seeing none, we're now up to the director's report. Director Miller.
Thank you, Chair Amos. I have very little to report tonight except Tuesday, March the 8th, you all are aware, we will be, it's good that it came up tonight between Trustee Oliver and Trustee Al Harrison around the multi-year plan. I will be presenting data on the 4 years, on how we have done as a board in the 4 years. And I'm not sure we will have much opportunity for discussion about where we go, but that will be for our April 10th, 11th, 2-day, full-day talks. But this will give you a kind of context of where we've been to hopefully help us develop where we're going. Okay? Thanks. That's it.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments for the director on his report tonight? Seeing none, we're up to communications from the chair. I don't think I have anything, so we'll move right on to trustee questions or comments. Are there any trustee questions or comments tonight? Trustee Oliver.
Thank you, through Chair. Just a few things that I participated in last week. So last Thursday, Trustee Al Harrison and I assisted the Halton Food for Thought with their breakfast program at Abbey Lane Public School. That was a wonderful event and an opportunity to see the program in action and to assist. And I think I'm going to make that my Monday morning event on a more regular basis, as I plan to help out with that program at the school. On Thursday also, several of the trustees attended the Halton Learning Foundation annual general meeting. So that was another great event with an inspirational speaker. And that evening, I held my super council meeting, which marked a 1-year anniversary for the schools in Oakville Ward 4, councils getting together and sharing and learning from each other around some of the issues that the school councils face and how to support their schools. So again, another exciting and energized meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Pappen.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to thank Superintendent Blackwell for attending my Family of Schools meeting. It was an excellent evening. We had a great discussion around the health and physical education curriculum, so thank you very much. On February 25th, I attended the Halton Food for Thought Feeduary with Councillor Jack Dennison and Trustee Collard. It was a great event, well participated, and the kids were very enthusiastic about what was going on. And so that was a great evening, and I look forward to my next Family of Schools meeting, which is on Thursday, April 28th, and I have invited Associate Director Bogue to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Reynolds.
Thank you. I just wanted to applaud the schools that attended the first robotics programming down in Myrtle Beach last weekend. Shout out to Burlington Central and MMR Robinson, who actually partnered. They made an alliance in the finals. They didn't win, but they ranked very high, so that was pretty exciting. The other interesting piece of news is the Burlington Central team got on the Good Morning Live show, so they did a plug for our school. So we're quite well known down there. And I'd just like to say that MM Robinson did win the Quality Award for their robot. So well done, guys.
Thank you. Vice Chair Graves.
Thank you. On Friday, Trustee Collard and I attended a budget discussion at MPP Indira Naidu-Harris's office in Milton, and we had a great discussion there. I have a question into her regarding capital funding and whether or not the money is being committed or over and above previously committed funds. So I'm looking forward to hearing back from her on that. What I found most welcome regarding the provincial budget with regard to education was actually the curriculum and everything being developed in response to the Truth and Reconciliation reports. So that was a very welcome piece to public education.
Thank you. And seeing no other speaker, oh, somebody snuck in there in the last minute. Trustee Gerbentz.
I always like to get right at the end. Trustee Reynolds and I went down to MPP Eleanor McMahon's office, and we actually talked to her assistant about several programs that they've got going that involve student voice. So Government Girls is one of them, and it is a program that two schools, grade 8 girls, they basically work on some projects together, and it's supported by the MPP's office, and they do this in every riding. So and there were some other group work that they also have. They're also trying to get 1 or 2 students from every high school, and most of our schools are represented there to work on, again, some student-led projects. They kind of pick their brains to come up with projects, and then they move forward on them. And there's several irons in the fire right now. So that's what I've got to report.
Thank you. Now, seeing no other speakers, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Trustee Collard, seconded by Trustee L. Harrison at 7:55. All those in favor? You think about it, Trustee Daniele. And that passes unanimously. Thank you so much, and good night.